What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Juju Green, aka Straw Hat Goofy, your movie guy, and I'm sitting here with Robert Eggers, the director of the new movie Werwulf, as well as other things like Nosferatu, what I like to call the trilogy, The Lighthouse, The Witch, and The Northman. And today we're going to react to the Werewolf trailer. This is the first time that I'm actually doing this with the director himself. So let's just get started. Oh my God, that was a lot.
Good.
You know what? I was saving this question for a little bit later, but now I need to ask this now because what I just saw was unrelenting, very dark, very grotesque. And a little birdie told me that your wife is a therapist.
That's true. Yeah.
Has she ever tried to therapize you and try to figure out exactly why you are the way you are?
We've known each other since we were kids, so she knows why I am the way that I am, and she also knows that, this is how I can express anything dark that's going on so that I can be nice and chill and take out the trash and walk my son to school as a normal, happy dude.
Does she almost have to explain yourself to other people where they go, is he okay? And she goes, he's fine.
I think that when The Witch came out, her extended family was a little concerned.
At what point did you get, were you married before or were you married after The Witch came out? Before? Yeah. Okay, so they were just kind of like, okay, is he good? He's good, right? You're just like, oh yeah, don't worry. He's always been like this. Yeah. And obviously, since you guys have known each other for a while, they've probably known you for a while.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, then that makes a lot of sense. Now, obviously, you're very adept at capturing like the darkness of humanity. And Nosferatu, I've said that movie was that's what you take evil incarnate and then you just put it in film form, right? I've said that in my review, but I think you've described Werewolf as your darkest film yet. Is that true?
It is true. I mean,
how
the world of the film is really horrific and merciless and gritty and grimy and dirty and rainy and muddy, more so than any of the movies, and like the world of the movie is like as dark and as scary as the werewolf, probably.
Really? How do you go
That's
about
the intention anyway?
Okay, how do you go about kind of like crafting it? Because usually you introduced something so evil or something so ferocious into a pristine, almost like utopian thing, and that's where the horror comes from. Is like, how do you kind of like put a drop of oil into pristine water? But here you have two things that are almost like just as grotesque and just as like dangerous. How do you go about balancing that, and how do you really establish the werewolf is the danger, or is it equal and that's your main goal?
I think that the Aaron Taylor Johnson, he is a man who is like cursed, and as the trailer says, like, his kin are cursed, he's cursed, his world is cursed, but he is looking to break the curse, there's a line in the film, to love is to be free, so it's like, how can, like, you're hopefully rooting for this guy to like find his way out of this curse and this misery.
Right. So what I'm finding and what I'm kind of excited to come explore in this movie is the sense of tragedy, because when someone is cursed, like, this is obviously something that's against his will. And you see that there's moments where he's with I assume his wife in the trailer. That just to me immediately says that's going to be trouble, because if he has this curse that causes him to do something so ferocious and so just messed up, right? Like, I worry for her safety and the people around them. How do you explore tragedy in this movie?
Well, I mean, so Lily Rose Depp is his wife, and she has undergone a really extreme physical transformation for the role, and she is the heart and soul of the movie. And so I think it's through like their relationship, particularly, and with their children, that you get to explore the tragedy, because you're a family drama is always something that people can relate to.
Of course, and I think that's very interesting how you almost did the same thing. You did the same thing with Nosferatu, like exploring it through Lily Rose Depp's eyes, and having like not the main character. It could have been easy to make Aaron Taylor Johnson the heart and soul of the movie because it is happening to him. But I think that extra POV of like it's happening to someone that she loves. Is that the way you're kind of like?
No, I mean, he's the protagonist, but she is the person he can be the most vulnerable around.
Okay, so she gives him like his humanity. She's the one who kind of like grounds him in a sense, right?
Absolutely.
Creating the family drama. That makes a lot of sense.
Willem is just one of the greatest actors of all time, so it's really easy, and it's like I'm always writing with him in mind, and in all of my movies, even if he plays different characters, he always plays someone who loves what they do.
Yeah.
And he's trying to he's a wolf hunter, and he loves it.
Yeah.
And Aaron, I mean, I think this is Aaron's best performance of all time.
I can tell he's going through a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the performance is so harrowing. Like, and he does these crazy like physical body work. It's just like like similar. To some of the stuff that Lily did in Nosferatu, but just like much more extreme and much more athletic.
Yeah.
And the emotion that it takes to like drive that, have it not be choreography, and you feel the pain and the agony is a lot. I mean, and Aaron just spent like day after day after day after day, like freezing cold in the woods in winter in Wales, naked, covered in blood.
Oh my God.
He was a trooper.
So I talked to Leonardo DiCaprio on the 10th anniversary of The Revenant, and you realize, obviously, when you're playing a character who is like part and parcel to the elements of what they're born of, like you gotta give credit to the performance for just enduring that type of thing, to act
absolutely.
amongst that. It's a feat in and of itself, and like there's that close-up shot of Aaron in mid-transformation, and you can tell that he's going through it as an actor, right? And he's battling through it. It's a lot to take in. What was it like filming those scenes? And like, do you almost worry for his well-being behind the camera, but you're just like, he has to keep going?
I mean, because the character starts here and has to just keep going. I mean, I remember shooting the kind of final scene of the movie and thinking, how is he gonna go further? And he did, and it's like it's really powerful.
I think as an audience member, like there's always a moment where you say, okay, we can rest easy now, or like there's those moments of reprieve that you can kind of say, okay, we're gonna get darker, but like let's just have one of those moments. The way this movie is being described to me is that it's just nonstop unnervingness and uneasiness, attention, which is a lot different than what we're used to seeing from a werewolf type of movie. I feel like the werewolf archetype is a slasher inherently, where you're just waiting for them to rip people apart.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it's almost like you're on this journey of someone who is cursed and you want them to get better, but it just keeps getting worse and darker. Can you talk to me about that and like making this film in that way?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I definitely wanted to have this be more like of a tension building, slow burn horror movie where it is, about just the weight of darkness, like all being all encompassing, and also, what are you worried you're gonna see, instead of necessarily like what are you seeing,
right?
And I think the werewolf genre is a difficult genre. It's a really difficult genre. I mean, like the best werewolf movie of all time is a comedy.
American Werewolf in London, right?
And so it's tricky. So I think for a touchstone for this kind of like monster movie, just in terms of the monster, is going to be always for me Alien. Ridley Scott's Alien, because that is you really don't. It's the anticipation of that xenomorph all the time.
Oh my God! See, it's so funny because I told a friend that I was coming to talk to you today, and the first gift that I sent her was Michael Jackson, the Thriller video, which scared the crap out of me as a child,
me too,
right?
absolutely,
and obviously, that movie also took a lot of inspiration, transformation wise, from American Werewolf in London, which I think, like up until hopefully this film, that people will see because I haven't seen the full transformation yet. That has been like the best transformation on screen of a werewolf.
It is, and I think most movies kind of just do their own better, attempting to be a better version of that because it is unparalleled. You know.
So do you feel kind of like, I don't want to say pressure, but do you look to that film when you kind of do your transformation scenes and say this is the bar that we're trying to hit, or are you trying to like kind of zig your own zag and do your own thing when it comes to that? A Robert Eggers transformation.
I think part of what I've done in all my films, I mean, maybe it's getting boring, is
I can assure you it is not.
Is when you go back to the folklore and you go back to the source material, you find stuff that is different from what has become the Hollywood cliches that we see over and over and over and over again. He didn't get bit by a werewolf. That's not how it happened. Like, there's no silver bullet. Like, that's so that is something that is like always refreshing for me, is that it's like it's not new. It's really old, but it feels new because like it's not what you've seen a million times before.
And I'm gonna just say this, like, I appreciate that because I'm a werewolf guy myself. I'm a big werewolf guy. Like, I love vampires and everything, but like if I can get a werewolf film, like I'm choosing that 10 times out of 10.
Cool.
But when it came to like Nosferatu, you did something with that movie that made me see vampires in a whole new light. Like, as much as I've been watching vampire things and vampire lore, there's almost like a beauty that comes with it. There's no beauty in that movie. Like in that you just feel it was the presence of Nosferatu coming that I dreaded the most. And with this movie, I feel a lot of dread. Anticipating the werewolf, which goes exactly what you're saying. It's what you can't see or what you think you're going to see, and that's where it comes from. So I appreciate you kind of like doing your own thing with this type of thing. So I gotta ask you, man, like, do you think that this movie is your best work that you've done so far?
We craft wise, in terms of like the camera work and I think we're continuing to grow, and also like I don't like there aren't scenes that feel like fails.
Yes,
which
of course.
which is something that I always feel.
Yeah. I love how like you're just a regular guy who's like, I feel like I failed, and you got like millions of fans who like come in droves to see your movie. Like, people are excited for this one, man. They hear your name attached to Werewolf and they go, I'm in. And here you are. I just hope I don't fail. Like, it's kind of cute.
You need to try to do better always.
Yes.
And if you're too satisfied, then you can't grow.
Of course. Robert Eggers, very humble, everybody. Like, just know this. Pick this up from this interview. Something that I really want to say is, again, you're a confident filmmaker. I feel like you've always very much had
for better and for worse.
For better and for worse, right? You know your style, you know what you like, you know what type of stories you want to tell, and you can see the progression in every single film, from The Witch, and then I feel like Nosferatu is just kind of like you just in your bag, so to speak, right? As the kids would say.
Sure.
Werewolf seems like you're taking this to a whole nother level. Do you feel like Nosferatu, which as I understand it was something that almost made you want to be a storyteller, do you feel like you working on Nosferatu was something that unlocked what you're doing in Werewolf?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, I think as you say, there always is a progression, and this couldn't have been made this way without having made Nosferatu, and as I've said many times in other interviews, like I didn't feel like I really knew how to make films until after I made The Northman.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We could talk about that. That's a whole nother.
We don't need to talk about that.
It's incredible, man. It's incredible. Now, the title of this movie, right? When I first saw it, obviously, like, my mind goes to, oh, this must be like the true translation of like the folklore and things of that sort. But why choose this version of the title as opposed to something like a Wolfman or something like that? I know your answer is probably going to be it's not the Wolfman story per se, but obviously there's familiarity that people would have with it, so it could be easy to say like, oh, this is a movie that you're kind of familiar with, but this is a new version of it. Like, what was the choice behind?
Yeah, I mean, well, it isn't like some kind of reboot of the Lon Chaney Wolfman. It is like Werewolf, and we're going old school. And also part of the spelling this movie, like my other movies, has like a different kind of language. So the movie takes place around 1300, and people are speaking in Middle English. And it was the first time that I didn't have to do this on The Witch, but on this film I had to work with two Oxford historians on getting the language right, and then working with a dialect coach to then also make it so that modern audiences could comprehend this ancient language. But that's also something that I love, and I think I think that also makes the world more scary and more foreign and more and weirder and uncomfortable because of the archaic speech.
Yeah, and I think that's just something, and I'm just now realizing this, being put into a time that you haven't necessarily lived towards and don't understand, that adds to the fear of everything, right? Because you can't really apply what you would do in this situation.
Absolutely.
So that's something that I'm assuming that you have thought about that when you make these type of films.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're the family who clearly loves each other a ton. Some of their interactions seem pretty strange to a modern audience.
Right.
But it's if you all live in one tiny little cottage, all five of you, you're gonna see everything.
You're gonna see everything. You're gonna be annoyed with certain things, and some of your interactions are gonna be a little bit more different than you're living in a house where you get your own space. So I gotta ask you two questions. Both of these have to do with kind of feelings, right?
Okay.
Because I really want to get in touch with your feelings here, man. This is a therapist session. I'm not your therapist. But what scares you the most? Is there something because I feel like you have no fear from what you do. I don't know if you're working through some demons, but do you have anything that truly scares you that you want to adapt in a film, or that you've probably put in the Werewolf, for this?
I had I broke my collarbone.
Same.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I broke my collarbone too.
Yeah.
Left side.
Yeah.
Left side.
Okay, left side.
We're bonded.
A few years ago, and I had I was sleeping on it wrong, and I was in pain, and I had this insane nightmare, insane. I wrote it down, because it was so, so intense and so vivid, and a lot of that made its way into this.
Wow.
Okay.
Biography, guys. Werewolf. There is some biography there. Now, the next question that I need to ask you is, what brings you joy? What makes you happy when you're not kind of making these films to scare the bejesus out of all of us?
I mean, making films brings me joy. Watching other people's films brings me joy. Number one thing is, of course, my family.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, then this makes a lot of sense. So what I'm picking up is scaring people brings you joy.
Well, I think I was really afraid of stuff as a kid, and so I think being able to control what you're afraid of as a filmmaker is something that is probably helpful for me.
It's I talked to Francis Lawrence about this as well, and that's why I love asking this question, because he makes a lot of movies that deal with dystopia and the darkness of humanity. And I asked him, I said, did you go through something as a kid? And he just went, I never thought about that. Maybe I should talk about this a little bit later. But I love how, again, you said your family and making films, and a lot of your films, from The Witch to Werewulf to Nosferatu, it has these family elements in it, right? Do you see your family reflected into the films that you make?
For sure. I mean, for sure. The arguments that the family and the witch have, my brothers said I can hear even though it's early modern English, I can hear our family arguing in that, and there's a scene where Aaron goes off with the hunt, and he's saying goodbye to his family. Yeah, it's also my family.
Yeah, see,
and that feeling of oh man, I'm going on location for 2 weeks, and I'm gonna miss you guys. Just little things like that. But if people say write what you know, and obviously I didn't grow up in the Middle Ages,
of course.
But you need to imbue all the scenes with some kind of specificity that you can relate to in order to tell it honestly, and vividly.
Right. I feel like you're capturing the human element of these stories because, you go out to make these movies, you're not coming back with the curse of the werewolf on you, right?
I hope not.
I hope not. Honestly, be pretty badass. I think you'd be a cool werewolf.
Thank you.
Last question. What is your favorite movie monster? You might have answered this question like a million times over, but I have to know for my own personal records.
I mean, it probably would change like day to day. But the original Xenomorph design is pretty amazing. I mean, I think I was when we were trying to sort out the stuff with our werewolf. I'm just like, the Xenomorph doesn't have eyes. That's why it's scary.
Yeah.
That's why it's scary. I think that's like another trick with sometimes like monsters become like so monstrous that you're just like, well, I know it's fake because that's not like something that could like exist, and so sometimes keeping things grounded, keeping things simple is like the scariest.
And I think you have mastered that. Seriously.
Trying.
You're trying. I think you're doing it, man. Thank you so much for talking to me about this. Listen, we broke our same collarbones. He likes aliens. I like predators. That's my favorite movie monster. And I love werewolves. And I'm really excited to watch Werewolf, guys. This is amazing. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Check this out on YouTube and also on my podcast, Get Wrecked with Straw Hat Goofy. I'm Juju Green, Robert Eggers. We'll catch you guys later.